So just a short video to explain how to create a translation memory just by using the translation memories view as opposed to creating the translation memory when you work. Because we know that when you translate a single document or you create a new project, you can create a translation memory as part of that process. But if you just wanted to create a translation memory from scratch, you would go down here on the left to the translation memories view, then click on new, give your translation memory a name, so I'll just call it EN to DE, pretend I'm going into English to German, put it on my desktop, and I can click finish, then close. And that's it. I've just created an empty translation memory. So it's very straightforward. When you do that this way, it opens it up in the translation memory editor. You can see there's no translation units or TUs in here at the moment because it's empty. And if I wanted to come back to it at any time, I can double click it and I can get into there to look at the contents and do any maintenance. That's what this view down here is really for, carrying out maintenance on a translation memory. You don't need to have it open while you're working. If you need to go back and change the settings on this TM, you can right click on it, select the settings, and then you can go through and you can add your fields and pick lists and things like that. You can change any recognition settings. You can edit the language resources, so change the variable list, abbreviation list, ordinal followers, or even edit the segmentation rules. All of that can be done in here. You can password protect it with 4 different levels. And you can also do a bit of tuning on the TM if you want to speed it up, if you find it's getting a little bit slow. So a large TM sometimes might start taking a little while to look up. By large, I mean millions of TUs, not tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. And as you start to find it gets slower, you can change this a little bit. So perhaps you look at less accuracy and more speed, depending on what sort of results you find you're getting. Most people never need to change this, but the options are there. So that's how you create a translation memory. If you wanted to create it using some of those options as you went along, or if you wanted to create a different type of TM, you can do that too. So when you click on the new, you click on the drop down, you can select the new translation memory, which is what happened when I just clicked new to begin with, and this creates a local file-based TM. But you can also choose the new server-based translation memory if you have access to GroupShare, which is another product for running server-based projects and translation memories and term bases. Or you can just use it to create a new language resource template, which you can then use to form the basis of creating further translation memories in the future. And if you wanted to change the settings as you went along, I'll just use the same name, so we'll overwrite what we did already. If you just take a little look at the settings, you have this character-based concordance search down here. This just allows you to get more refined results and find more things that it might not find without working on a character basis. It builds bigger indexes, and it can take a little longer with very large TMs if you enable the character-based concordance search. So that's why the option is there really. People in the past who had very large translation memories, and again I'm talking millions of TUs, they found that they would rather not have that option, so they wanted to be able to turn it off. So you can see it's on by default. I'll say yes to replace it. This is the one I created at the start. You can add your fields and attributes, and the way this works is, say for example you wanted to stamp every translation memory unit that you ever translate with the name of the company you were doing the work for, then you could create a field called company, for example. You could decide what text would be. So if it was a different company every time and you worked for so many different companies, there was no point in having a predefined list. You could say text, and then at the start of every project you write the name of the company in the update field, and it will then update them. If you had a list of companies, for example, then you could add them in here. So you could say Dell, HP, Microsoft, whatever, and you create a pick list, so that then when you're working it gives you the ability to choose one of those companies with making sure there's no spelling mistakes or anything like that, and stamp your TU with that. And you can also allow multiple values, which means that you could have several companies on the same TU. It's entirely it's entirely based on what it is you want to do. But if you don't understand what this is all about and you've never used it before, then don't don't use it. Simple. You can also change the recognizers on here, so that if you don't want your TM to be recognizing dates or variables, measurements or acronyms or something like that, you can also uncheck those. And then last but not least, if you want to, you can change the variable lists, abbreviation lists, ordinal followers, or even edit the segmentation rules, which you can do here as well, before you create your translation memory. So you can do this before or after, exactly as we looked at before. And that's it. So very straightforward. That's how you create a translation memory through the translation memories view.